I remember the first time someone said something to me,
22 years old.
sophomore, junior year. I noticed a receding hairline. I would do everything I could to like kind of hide that. I kind of got a little bit more insecure about it.
My head? I don't know how my head will look. We'll see.
So hats were like 100% all the time. It's just a pain in the ass to always have to hide it or to wake up and style my hair perfectly. I'm just tired of it.
Baldcafe is on a roll right now, and we're continuing that roll right now. We've got Lucas here to join us on the podcast. We're going to hear about Lucas's story in a moment. And guys, Lucas, he's going to go for it. I know there's a lot of people that get a lot of stuff out of these videos. It really helps them. You know, it's one thing for us to talk about it, but to see someone go through that epic moment and talk about it, it really is the pinnacle. It's the next level stuff. So Lucas, it's a pleasure to have you here, man. How's it going?
It's going good. Thanks for having me, Harry.
Man, it really is a pleasure. You know, we spoke, I want to say almost a month ago, right? I think you shot me a DM and you told me a little bit about your story. And now we're here. So let's go back, you know, for you, take it back a few years. I know you're still a young guy, right? How old are you now?
I'm 22. I turned 22 like 2 weeks ago.
22, beautiful age. So, you know, young guy. When did it all start for you with this hair loss stuff, man?
Yeah, well, way back like in high school, like sophomore, junior year, I noticed a receding hairline and didn't think much of it. And I remember the first time someone said something to me, I like bent down and someone just said like, "Oh, you're losing some crop on the top, eh?" And I was just like, "What do you mean?" Like, "Oh, I am?"
Yeah.
So, yeah, I noticed the receding hairline pretty early on. And throughout high school, you could just see it kind of like grow and kind of get larger. But I would do everything I could to like kind of hide that. So I would like shave my head like to the sides like a little bit and style it and kind of do like the little wave. But and then couple years later, it started to like thin on the top a little bit, and I'm like, yeah, it's coming up. So
yeah. So you're back in high school. How old are you then? Are you, I want to say 16, 17?
Yeah, I was like 16, 17 years old.
16,
so.
And so the first time you noticed it was one of your friends pointing it out to you. So before that, you hadn't noticed yourself, right? I want to ask about your family. How about your dad or other guys in your family? Are those guys bald?
No, I think the only person that was bald was my mom's dad, so my grandpa.
Right.
And yeah, he was bald. My sisters got married, and one of their husbands were bald, and a couple of my cousins were bald, but no one like really close. So it's kind of weird. Like I'm like, no, I'm not gonna bald, but I've always heard like genetics and your mom's dad always like is like the big determination, but I don't know.
Yeah, that seems to be a common one. People say, you know, it comes from your mother's side, which obviously the closest, you know, male in that regard genetically would of course be, the grandfather or your mother's father, right? So your friend, you know, points out that you going thin here or losing some hair, like you said, obviously came out of nowhere. So at the time, you know, did you kind of think, oh yeah, I am, and go straight into it, or was there a bit of a denial phase?
Through high school, I didn't think much of it. I know I kind of looked a little funny with the receding hairline because all my other friends and people around me had fine hair. So I didn't really think much of it through high school. But once I went to college, I kind of got a little bit more insecure about it. And that's when I could start wearing hats like to class and stuff.
Right.
So hats were like 100% all the time for me. Like freshman, I'm going to be a senior in college right now. So, but yeah, freshman year, sophomore year, junior year of college, always had a hat on. When I played sports like intramurals, so like volleyball or basketball, I'd always ask the ref, "Hey, can I wear a hat? I'll put it on backwards." Like, yeah. And it's actually kind of funny because I met a dodgeball team this last year, and I've always had a hat on, and they invited me over to their house, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to shower up and not wear a hat. And this is the first time they haven't seen me without a hat.
Yeah.
And sure enough, someone said something. They're like, whoa, I haven't seen you without a hat on. And I was like, oh, I got a little red. And they're like, oh, you got the little receding hairline, I see. So, like, yeah, they noticed.
Yeah.
But,
so
I lived by hats.
So you live by hats. And I guess for those who have seen you for the first time without the hat, then they kind of can see why maybe, right? It became, I guess, like a security thing, or you just got used to it, I suppose, right?
Exactly. Like a couple of my closer friends that I live with at college, they know why I wear hats, and they can just tell, like, I want to hide as much as possible.
Yeah, yeah. So you've gone down the hats route. Have you did you ever look into any other ways to kind of, of course, there's the Rogaine, were you, like most people do, on Google trying to search for ways to stop it and things like that?
Oh, yeah, I did some research, but I'm a pretty cheap guy, so I was not going to mess around with all the hoaxes. I don't know if they're hoaxes or not, but I wasn't going to do no Rogaine or, like,
yeah. One
of my other friends got, like, what is that, the plugs. Yeah, and he just got that done recently, and I just thought, like, it's just not worth it, and it's expensive too. So
yeah, really expensive. So you've gone with the hats, and so how have we got to this point? I know you obviously reached out to me before, and you mentioned that you always had like a longer, like you said, sort of crop, like a style, and you went with a grade 3. So you kind of went for it, but slowly. And you said, I think you remember you saying it looked worse when you went with the grade 3. It almost made it worse, right?
Right. Yeah. So my girlfriend and I are very close. We've been together for like 6 years, and she knows I'm balding and she's fine with it. And I said, like, hey, let's try something a little bit different. You want to buzz cut my hair? So, like, I came across, like, your channel, like, a couple months before that. I've been watching, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to record it and, like, see how it looks. So, like, my hair was pretty shaggy at the time, but I'm like, okay, let's just do a 3. So we did it 3 all around, and I'm like, okay, it doesn't look that good.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
you could definitely see the thinning just looked a lot worse.
Yeah.
So that was like a month ago.
Right.
And now I've recently said to her, I'm like, hey, what if I want to go even shorter? And she doesn't like the thought of me going bald.
Right.
At this young of an age. Yeah. But I know that she'll support me, and all my family will too. So
good. That's important. I want to ask, I suppose you got the friends who the friends who you hang around with, during this hat phase, did you kind of, was it like the elephant in the room, like we just didn't talk about it, or did you ask them for advice, or tell me more about that? Obviously you've got a supportive family, but, was it just hats on, let's just not talk about it?
Yeah, one of my friends, or 2 of them, have like pretty decent amount of hair, and they're always like, hey, you got that shiny forehead, you gonna do anything about it, or when are you gonna shave it off? And I don't know, they just kind of gave me crap in like a good way.
Yeah.
But another one of my roommates had he doesn't have a receding hairline, but he's got the bald spot in the back.
Right.
So every now and then I'll go and talk to him about it, like, hey, have you ever thought about shaving your head? And he's just like, oh no, man, I can't do that until I'm after 30. So that's what he decided. He's like, not until after 30. I'm like, I don't know if I can wait till after 30 because I want to get married before that, and I don't know if I want like a couple hairs. Just like, I just feel like a bald is a clean look, and it's okay to be bald. And I've just kind of just accepted that. So
yeah, I think that's important, and I guess there's going to be people watching, and they want to know, I guess, how you've come to this decision. I guess you've had the hair for so long, and I suppose when it first started going, you must have already started to come to terms with it, and I guess you must have made a sort of pact with yourself that when it got to that point of almost no return, you were just going to bite the bullet and face up to it. Is that kind of how it's played out for you?
Yeah, like in my eyes, I just think it's going to get worse, and I don't know. The only thing that's really stopping me or holding me back was I'm 22. I'm kind of young. And from reading like comments and from your videos and everything, a lot of other people are doing this at 19 or 20.
Yeah.
So I like, okay, maybe I'm not that young, but 22 is still a young age. But
22 is young, yeah. And unfortunately, hair loss, going bald does not discriminate, with age, unfortunately. Yeah. And I think you're right. I think, for a lot of the younger you go, obviously there are less people in that position, right? But, whether there's the perfect age, it really, in my opinion, it all comes down to how it makes you feel. And there just comes a point where, like you said, you have to face up to the reality of it, and just not worry about it. Like you said, you've got ambitions, you're going off to university or, college, you want to get married, do all this stuff. And, the last thing you need is to be hiding behind hats or, just thinking about it, having it on your mind and stuff like that, So I think it's a powerful thing. It's a powerful thing, especially for young guys, if they can reach that point, of acceptance, because it's tough, it is tough.
It is. And it's just a pain in the ass to always have to hide it or to wake up and style my hair perfectly. I'm just tired of it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Ready to let it go. Well, listen, we could have this conversation forever, but there is going to be a part 2 to this. So, Lucas, you're going to go for it, right? It's morning where you are. I can't think of a better time to do it. All the best, man. We're going to cut to you, live, getting rid of it, tackling it, building up that security that can't be broken, that inner confidence. Dude, I wish you all the best with it, man.
All right, so then I think I'm just going to start with a 2 and then do the 0. Dude, I don't know. Just keep on thinking of like reactions and 22 years old and I'm gonna shave my head. So it just feels a little weird. $22 old. It'll grow back if I don't like it, but I don't know. Yeah, dude. I mean, I did a 3 earlier, and it was like literally like pretty dang close to just doing it all. So I might as well just do it all and see if I like it. I'll have some hair before school if I don't like it. But maybe I will like it. I don't know. Number 2. Just a number 2 guard. Number 2 guard. That's all it is. So. I wonder what my boss is gonna think too. Like, I'll come into work and he'll be like, "Oh, you shaved your head? What? Oh well." So now I gotta do it. All right, we're done. Thanks for watching. Fuck. Alright, so I did number 2 everywhere, I think. I don't know how to cut my own hair. This is weird. I left the patch. I'm gonna leave the patch for the very end. Do I take it off? Do I take it off? My head? I don't know how my head will look. We'll see. Oh. Dude, I've never seen my head before. It's just weird. Dude. I am white, bro. And it's cloudy today, so I can't even get a freaking, like, some color in. Alright. Okay. I don't know how people do their backs. I can't see it. I'm gonna have to have someone help me later. Alright. Ready. Alright, left the patch. Just send it. I don't know. So many friends are gonna just slap me in the head. I guess that's it. And now it's just time for like reactions of, I don't know. I need to grow like a better beard and then I'll be okay. But yeah, there it is. Yeah, I missed the sync, but yeah, this looks weird. Alvin, me. Buddy. You think I look alright?